What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Truth. I'm out here braving the cold, taking a break. Just had some more comments I wanted to bring to the forefront. This we're gonna talk about is, a lot of guys might push back on my other video and be like, these women today are not into nice guys, or they're not, looking for what they have to offer. And, it brings me back to something that, a lot of guys don't maybe not understand. We used to always say, why do women like bad guys, or why do they like bad boys, or they're chasing that no good guy. Why Chad and Tyrone can always get it. I mean, sometimes Chad and Tyrone, they have the looks, right? That's a factor. They look how these women want to look, or they're dangerous. Some women are just not ready for a relationship. I mean, we have to understand some are human, and they're not going to. I don't know if you guys hear that. But apparently, people think it's a drag strip. So, anyway, that they're not ready for a relationship. But I think that the most important thing that we're missing out on is that Chad and Tyrone have options, right? They have options, and so when a person and a guy has options, he's not super invested in what he's getting from that woman, right? So, for example, let's say it's Friday night. I'm Chad, or I'm Tyrone in this case. I'm Tyrone, and I can scroll down my list. I got about five or six that I can hit up. I got a rotation, right? If I got a rotation of women that I know are going to come through, and I can reach out to any of them, I'm not overly concerned with the response of just one, right? I'm not desperate for that one's attention, so I can go ahead and I'm not going to give her as much attention as somebody else, which is what nice guys do. He has options, and he's unavailable. And one thing I think a lot of guys don't realize is how attractive it is for a man to have options or be unavailable, as far as not always being up under her, right? Especially in the dating phase. You want to, everybody wants somebody, especially women, they want someone who's wanted, right? They want to feel like the man that they're after has options, right? That he is not, like, they're not giving them they're not in a pity relationship, if that makes sense, right? So what you need to create as a man is that same semblance. You need to be focused on yourself, not to the point of being narcissistic, not to the point of being selfish, but you need to be so into what you have going on that you're not overly concerned about what she has going on, right? If she's not meeting your program, she's not giving you the attention you feel like you should be getting, especially at whatever phase of dating that you guys are at, it's time to move on. It's okay. I mean, there's other women out there. There's other people to date. There's other things to do. And that's one thing that, guys tend to forget when it comes to dating women. Or maybe you never learned it. Maybe you hadn't had enough experience in the dating pool to realize that, sometimes even if you super like a chick, like you're like, oh my gosh, she's the best thing smoking, best to play that down a little bit. Maybe not always be available when she calls. Maybe have some, and I mean, you can fake that, but I think the best way to achieve that is have something going on. You got to go to the gym, you got studying to do, you have previous engagements, you're going out with the fellas, like, you're not always available, right? You're not sitting and waiting for her to contact you, or your whole weekend consists of whatever she wants to do, right? You're planning your whole life based around her availability. It's going to turn out quick. I don't care, how much she may like you. That may get old, and she, women like a little bit of a chase. They like to do the chasing sometimes. And I don't mean that as, she wants to hit you up for dates, or, chasing you down or to spend time with you, but she wants to make sure, or wants to know that the guy that she's after is desirable by other women. That he's a desirable guy. And you have to excuse me, guys, if you hear the wind blowing. I'm actually, like I said, taking a little break outside. So, excuse some wind if you hear it in the video. I'm just standing here trying to hide from the cold. I'm in the South, so we're getting a little bit of cold weather that we're not used to around this time. But anyway, like I said, I mean, you got to make sure that you have enough going on in your life that you can move forward. And to address another topic, hypergamy. What people don't realize about hypergamy is that somebody's always going to be chasing the bigger and better, but women want to date someone that they can learn from, that they feel that is the best thing that they can get, right? And hypergamy can exhibit yourself in a lot of fashions, because some guys are like, oh well, you got the money, that's all that matters, man. You can have $1 million and be a high earner, and your woman can still cheat on you, right? So having the money is not always a guarantee that you're going to get the woman. Sometimes there's plenty of men that have bucket loads of money, and their woman still cheats on them, right? Because he's not exuding the characteristics she finds attractive. He's exuding the characteristics of stability, right? So she's with this particular guy because he's stable and he can, financially provide for them. But does she feel excited when he walks in the door, right? Does she feel, turned on when she sees him? And the way you do that is being on your best, making sure you're looking the best, and you're winning at life. And the best way to do that is to spend time and work on yourself, right? If you're not working on yourself, you're not putting your best foot forward, you're gonna have terrible results. And if you dump all your money into dump all your resources into getting money without developing emotional intelligence and some street smarts and just being a well-rounded figure, you're going to find yourself in a situation where your woman cheats on you. This is just the facts. There's so many guys that will give a woman everything, right? Cars, financial provision, but he doesn't stand on business, right? And women can peep that, right? So you got a guy who's a pushover. Yeah, he's got the bag, but he's a pushover, and she's gonna, and that's never been attractive. Where Brad and Chad and Tyrone would never let it get away with that, right? Which is why they continue to get it. She is continuously trying to win their favor, and because Chad and Tyrone have options, he's not overly concerned about what she's doing. He's not overly concerned about whether he links up with her that night. He's just going to move on. And it's that level of contentness that that you as a person that may not have a rotation can exude by being focused on things other than just her, right? And standing on business. I cannot stress this to you enough. Sometimes, and what I mean by standing on business, you have to recognize that when you're being tested and you're getting the raw end of the deal, bounce. Be able to bounce. Don't let anybody play with you. You state what you stand on. State your principles, and you set boundaries for yourself. It's okay to set boundaries, right? Matter of fact, it's mandatory you set boundaries if you really want to have any type of successful relationship with any woman, with anybody really, whether that's your friends or or your romantic partner. Set boundaries, and be clear that if you cross these boundaries, I'm gonna have to bounce. I mean, you don't have to have boundaries, stupid boundaries like, oh, if you call before 8 a.m., I ain't talking to you. But a boundary for me when I was dating used to be if you just show up without announcing yourself, right? And we're not in a relationship, right? If I'm dating a girl, we're getting to know each other, and she may have been to the house once or twice, and all of a sudden she decides on her own she's going to show up and knock on my door. That's a negative, because I'm not going to allow you to overstep my privacy and my boundaries, right? Now, of course, once you're my lady, you ain't got to do that. I like a phone call, but we're in a relationship. You're my girl. I don't have no other chicks out there. I don't care if you show it. And it's not even about having chicks in a rotation. I mean, for me, I had a rotation back then. So I set that boundary for two reasons. A, I might already be involved in something. I might be dating someone else, so I'm not exclusive with you. And now you just showing up and you ruin the vibe of what I got going on. And B, you're trying to force yourself into a position that you don't have, right? So that's why I set the boundary. And I mean, I remember I was in the military years ago, and there's a girl I super had a crush on. Oh my god, had a crush on her, right? And she knew where I stayed, and one day she just decided to show up. And she's knocking on the door. I'm home. She's calling me. She was like, "Yeah, I just decided to stop by and just wanted to see you." I'm like, "Are you the one knocking on my door right now?" And he was like, "Yeah, yeah." And I was like, "Don't do that." So one thing we're not going to do is just showing up. I was like, "You wouldn't like if I just showed up at your house, so we're not going to do that." And I mean, it took a lot for me to say that, but I had to set boundaries early because you have to set the way things are going to go and stand on your principles as a man. And I feel like that's how you gain respect. I mean, and she respected me for that. And the relationship fizzled later on because we just weren't compatible. But by me telling her standing on business, I felt like I got more respect and I got more out of that situation. It's just small stuff like that. Just if you don't agree to certain things, don't let nobody convince you otherwise, right? Stand on business. Like, if you don't like certain things, say, hey, that's not my cup of tea. And, if they continue to violate it, move on. That's one thing that Chad and Tyrone's do. If you're not conducive to how they're rocking, they have options. So they're just like, well, just let it go. Now she's going to try extra hard. And I got to be on my P's and Q's because I don't want to upset, what I got going on with old boy. When you don't have options and you're depending on or you're all investing into this woman without being any investment into yourself, you let red flags go. There's things that you wouldn't tolerate if she was, let's say if she's a 10, there's things that you're going to tolerate from a 10 that you're not going to accept from a 5, right? Now you can call a 10, she don't pick up, you text her, she don't pick up, you don't keep calling, texting. If she was a 5 or a 4, something that you're not attracted to, and you text her or you call and she didn't pick up, and that became her habit, like that's what she does, you wouldn't tolerate it. Also, because this person looks good, it doesn't make her a better person. She's still another person. And you got to treat her just like she is a 5, like she's just an average woman out there. And once you start treating everybody like they're human and they're average, you get better results. And the same reason guys don't approach certain women in when they're out and about, because they're like, oh, she's a 10, I'm nervous, what if I mess up and say, treat her like one of your friends. Go up and have a conversation. If she's feeling you, she'll let you know. If she's not feeling you, she'll also let you know that as well. Take a hint, bounce. You ain't got time to, because that 10 you spending 20 minutes on, right? You done shot your shot. Let's say you're in a crowded club, right? You done shot your shot at this 10. Everybody sees that you shot your shot at 10 and got turned down. Now the 8s and 7s that would have went home with you or would have been worthwhile saw that you got shot down, and now they're second and third choice. They're not feeling you. Now you need to be looking at who's feeling you. One of my favorite rappers says, I mess with those who mess with me, right? So if I'm out and about and I see the choosing signals from a particular woman, and she may not be the baddest in there, I ain't got to have the baddest in there. I got to have the one who is feeling me, right? The one who's going to give me attention, the one who's going to be, when I go and approach her, she's going to be receptive to the conversation. And on the flip side, it's so funny because now if I'm having a conversation with on my scale, which is like a 6 or a 7, just chopping it up with her, other women see that and they see that, that live interaction, like, well, damn, what he got going on? Man, he over there talking to her. Why he ain't come over here and talk to me? This is how they are, right? So don't waste your time shooting a shot at somebody who's not giving you choosing signals. Don't waste your time on somebody that makes you feel like they have options. And don't waste your time with women that are willing to take advantage of you. That was, like I said, I just wanted to recap some things I've talked about, in previous videos. Once again, this is your man Truth. If you like what I'm putting down, that sounds so corny, but if you like what I'm talking about, please hit the like and subscribe button for me. If you have a disagreement, go ahead and comment. And until next time, guys.